Good afternoon, everyone. It is 2 p.m. On December 17th, Tuesday, December 17th, just over a week till Christmas. Goodness me. I thankfully had a call from Margaret just 10 minutes ago to tell me that she was asking me was I going live today because it hadn't posted here onto YouTube, even though I thought I'd done it. I hadn't hit the create button, but actually what had happened, I think, because I see everyone watching right now is on YouTube, I think there's a problem streaming to Facebook. And so when I did hit the create button, it didn't actually go through. So I'm thinking today I might only be live in the one place and Facebook might not be working today. So if anyone was trying to find me on Facebook, I'm so sorry. Hopefully you're catching the replay on the YouTube channel. If anyone does get onto Facebook, let me know, but I don't think it's working. So that's what happened. I thought that was very odd. I thought I set it up hours ago, and I did, but because the Facebook side isn't working, it didn't let me create any of it. So I've just had to go live on YouTube. Okay. How is everyone today? Is it warm wherever you are? It is warm here. I'm not sure how warm. It's over 30 degrees, definitely. I haven't looked to see how hot it is, but I know it's very warm in this room, so it probably won't be a long live today. I try and keep these ones under an hour anyway. But yeah, very warm in this room today. This room gets really hot in the afternoons. I've got both cats sleeping on the floor underneath the table here. I do have a fan, an overhead fan, but there's no aircon in this room. Hello, Kay. Nice to see you. Hi. There wasn't a notification on YouTube's. Yeah, I know. Well, because when I did try and schedule it earlier, it didn't work because the Facebook side isn't working, so it didn't let me create it. So yeah, I'm looking at the comments and everybody's on YouTube. Nobody seems to be on Facebook. So if anyone was on Facebook hoping to watch me at 2 o'clock, I'm probably not there. That's what I think's happened. I think it's just not working. Who knows, hey? All right. So, hello from Nova Scotia. Hello, Nancy. Today's 33. Yesterday was 43. That's way too hot, Leslie. So 43 is what, 105? Or is it more? 100 and actually, it's probably more than that. Anyone know? I'm not very good with Fahrenheit and Celsius and all that. Changing from one to the other. Hello, Judy. Yeah, it looks like everyone's on YouTube today. We don't have any Facebook people because I think the Facebook side is not working. So I hope that doesn't rule too many people out. I'll have to go over there and tell them to watch the replay on YouTube. Yeah, I think it's not working, Margaret. That's what I think's happened. And that's when I hit the create button earlier today, because the Facebook bit wasn't when I looked at it, it looked like I hadn't created it. But I think it's just because when I tried to create it again, it told me, no, you can't do it because Facebook's not connected. I'm like, okay, I haven't done anything different, so I'm assuming it's a Facebook issue. I will check it out, see if I can get that working again, because I do like going live on both. All right. So today I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. I've got some paper towel because we've got a messy technique today, and you know the messy ones are my favorite. They're the ones I like. I'm going to switch over to the desk and let's talk about inking and embossing folders, okay? But not quite in the way that you might have seen me do before. I have done some embossing folder techniques before, but I haven't done this one for you. So I'm going to switch over and see what we can find. So I'm just sitting here with my glass mat. Now, I do have a glass mat. These are rather wonderful. If you have one, there's a lot of things you can do on the glass mat. But if you don't have a glass mat, you can use other things. For example, I'm going to be applying ink to my glass mat and picking it up from there. However, you may find that, you can get some really great results by using a large plastic block, for example. Block F, if anyone has it, which is our biggest block. That's this size block. You can use this for some of these smushy techniques. But I do really love using a big mat like this because it's much easier to contain the mess. Much easier. You don't end up as messy. So, all right. So I'll show you a sample kind of that I've already had a little play with. This is actually something I prepared earlier, obviously. And I'm going to show you how I did this. This is actually just on plain basic white cardstock. Okay, and then I've matted it with some pretty peacock. Okay, but it's a really, really, yeah, Facebook is a mess, Judy. I agree, right? It's just so, oh, it's 108 degrees. Yeah, that's too hot, Leslie. Too hot. And Victoria's having lots of heat waves at the moment too, and bushfires and things. And yeah, they can, I know they don't want them either, but they can keep them down there because I don't want them up here. But yeah, there's been crazy weather everywhere lately. All right, so this is very, very easy to achieve, but what you will notice is I'm using embossing folders, and the type of, oh, hello, Danny. Yep, Cookie is sitting in his cage just watching at the moment. I'm sure you'll hear him make a noise at some point. Hey, Cookie. Oh, he's looking. He's looking. What's like? Why did you say my name? And what do you want? um, it is pretty, isn't it? I love this kind of a technique. You know, it's a little bit smushy. There's some white, there's some color, there's different things going on. This is an embossing folder technique, and you'll probably recognize I've used the changing leaves embossing folder for this one. So the kind of embossing folder you want to use for this technique is an embossing folder that has a design with space in between. Okay, so what I mean by that, this one you can probably see we've got all these lovely leaves, but there's quite a bit of blank space in between the leaves. Can you see that? And so that makes it perfect because it's the blank areas where the color ends up being the strongest. Okay, so we need that blank area. So I've pulled out a few of my favorites that have some blank space, and I thought we'll see if we can play around with them. I thought, for example, there's a bit of blank space on this one, the dotted circles one, and then the painted trees 3D, there's quite a bit of blank space around the trees, so that would probably work. And then I also pulled out a new one. Now you might notice the paper looks different. These ones are just basic white. This one is actually watercolor paper, and I want to show you the difference between how the color sits on the watercolor paper as opposed to just the basic white. Okay, but yeah, we'll have a bit of fun. It's another one on watercolor paper here. So I'm going to use this one and this one first. We're going to do the two examples with the changing leaves. But if you are looking for a good embossing folder to use, you want to use one that's got some blank space in between the design. Hey, Marilyn, nice to see you. No, I don't think so. Oh, that's a good question, Marty. Let me go and have a look. I don't think it is, but you know, what do I know? Oh my goodness. Okay, the bundle is, but the stamp set is not, and the embossing folder is not. So it looks like it's just not going to be a bundle anymore. But if you wanted it as a bundle, that's $94.50. Here in Australia, it's not marked down. The stamp set's not marked down, the embossing folder's not marked down, and the bundle's not marked down. So apart from the 10% off, it already is the bundle, but it is not the. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm reading it wrong. No, definitely not on Last Chance. It just says bundled savings, and I need to make sure I'm actually looking through my glasses. It looked like it was a Last Chance logo, but it's not. It just says bundled savings. So changing leaves currently not Last Chance. Okay, so let me go and see where we are. Yeah, it is a great bundle. I know this is also one of those bundles that's been in and out of stock because it's been so popular. So it's a really great one to use. All right, so I have already gone ahead and done my embossing, okay, just to cut that step out today. But this is a 3D folder, so when you're using it, you just put your paper inside, run it through the embossing plate. Run it through the cut and emboss machine with the specialty plate. Okay, so you don't need the clear plates. You just use the specialty plate and your embossing folder with the paper inside. Okay, so that's cool. All right, so I've got both of these, and what I'm going to do is now this one is a little bit smaller. Can you see that? The reason why is because the watercolor paper that we have is a smaller size. It is only 7 by 5. That's inches. Okay. The actual measurements are written in centimeters as well, but it's 7 inches by 5 inches. So if you cut it at the 3.5-inch mark on the long side, that's halfway to 7. So therefore you get 2 panels. And this is actually a good size. So for example, let me just grab a piece of basic white thick card base. So this is a basic thick white card base, which is half a sheet of A4 folded in half again. Okay, and then that piece, as you can see there, goes quite nicely on that front there. So it's a good size for this paper, for our A4 paper, and it's also a good size for the US letter paper. So it works both ways. Now you'll notice that this one is a bit bigger. All right, so I've actually got this one cut at 9.5 centimeters by 13.8, which is slightly smaller than I would normally do. So this is the normal size, which is 10 by 14.3. This is a normal card front size. If you cut your white paper to that, and then you decided you wanted to add a mat to it, okay, you can do that. But the thing that I discovered, and that's really, really important, I mean, I knew this, but I didn't take a lot of care with it, is that when you go to cut it, you must make sure, because we're going to be wetting our paper, you must make sure your paper is completely dry before you cut it. Because if your paper is not completely dry, then when you use your trimmer, it's really easy to rip the edges. And that's why this piece actually ended up being a little bit smaller, because I ended up ripping it down the bottom here, and I've cut it shorter. And I thought I'd put something along, a greeting or something along the bottom there. But anyway, I wanted to give you that little tip. Don't cut your paper with your trimmer while it's wet. Okay, really important. Yeah, that's right, Julianne. It's not cut. It's not working on Facebook. StreamYard and Facebook are not talking to each other today. I don't know why. So that's correct, Anne. I'm very, very sorry. I did talk about this at the beginning, but you would have missed it because you were over on Facebook waiting. But no, not working on Facebook today. Don't know why. So thankfully we're here, right? All right, so when you run this embossing folder through, or any embossing folder, you can see, I hope you can see here, that the embossed side, where the embossed design, the leaves are raised, okay? This is kind of what I would call the A side. This is the side that you would normally be looking at. However, for this technique, we want to apply our ink to the back, okay? So we actually want this, the debossed side, so that the leaves actually are debossed, or depressed into the paper, okay? And the blank space in between the design, that is actually higher than the leaf pattern. So this is normally the front, but we're going to be working today on the back. Does that make sense to everybody? Hey, Katrina. Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on with Facebook today. So anyway, at least we're here, hey? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be using my glass mat as a base to apply my colour. And because I've got this, and I'm going to do it, I've got two. I've got one with watercolour paper and one with plain paper, so you can see the difference. They're both going to look good. As you can see, the sample that we did before, what did I do with the sample? Here it is. That's just on basic white. But I think personally, I prefer the look on watercolour paper, but it really, it's completely up to you. So these are the colours I used. I used Pretty Peacock, I used Old Olive, and I used Peach Pie. Okay, those were the three colours. You can pick any colours you like. You can have just two colours if you want to, but I quite like three. So I'm actually going to apply my colour directly to my glass mat. So you just need to make sure your mat's clean before you start. And then, of course, when you're finished, you need to make sure you clean up. So I hold it so that the edge where I apply the sticker is out on the left here, and that way I'm just going to push on the glass mat and make sure I apply plenty of ink straight from the ink pad. Okay, then close that one, and the next one I'm going to do Old Olive next. And same thing, making sure that my my colour piece is facing towards the left here. And then I'm just going to put this just below. You can do it a couple of times if you want to get more ink on, and in this case I do. Okay, and then the last one is the Peach Pie. Now, just to bear in mind, when you do your last colour, if you're going next to another colour, just be careful, because you don't want to end up with, I don't want to end up with green in my Peach Pie ink pad. So I'm just going to apply that a little bit below, so I'm not actually touching the Old Olive. Or the other way around this is to use your lightest color first and work up to your darker color, but you can leave a little gap. And I'll show you why you can leave a little gap. If you have ink spots, that's really good if you want to get like smaller bands of color, because obviously you're going to get the width of an ink pad here. If you don't want it to be as much as that, use the ink spots, the little ones. They'll give you a good result as well. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a spritzer. Okay, this is my water spritzer. I've got water in it. I just filled it up at the tap. It unscrews. These are great. You would definitely want to have some of these in your collection, because you can do so many different techniques and different things with them. All right, so I'm going to spray this lightly, and I'm just going to make sure that it's, I don't know if you can see that it's shiny. How much you put on is completely up to you. If you're using watercolor paper, you can use more than if you're using basic white. All right, so I've got my first one here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting it with the debossed side facing towards the ink. Okay, so I'm going to put this down. Oops, I just remembered. I'm then going to put a piece of scrap paper over the top. Grabbing a piece out of the printer. All right, and I'm going to put that over the top, and then I'm going to make sure it has some contact, and I'm going to move it around so it's going to pick up ink. You can see what's happened to my piece here. I actually really like the way the edges of that look. All right, let's have a look at it. Okay, this is how it's looking at the moment. Okay, so it's picked up on that blank space. If you wanted it, if you like it just like this, you can leave it just like that. All right, but if you want to add a little bit more and get a little bit more, I don't know, bleeding between the colors going on, add some more water. All right, and then you can actually add some more here in the middle. Now, if I use that sheet of paper over the back of it, then my fingers won't get as messy. All right, so can you see now I've picked up some more color? All right, and it's looking rather nice, isn't it? Don't you like that? Now, see where I've pushed quite hard here? That's picked up some ink there in the middle. I would have liked it better if that wasn't the case, but that looks like a really great place for a sentiment, don't you think? So it's completely up to you. If you press very hard, and obviously I've pressed quite hard just now, then you will pick up some color in the middle of your leaves. Okay. Oh, you're one-handed again, Lani. That's no good. Well, I know everyone is busy at the moment, but you certainly don't need that at this time of year. Hey, Leslie. All right, so that's what we've got right now. I'm going to put that to one side. Now, if I was to try and cut this down at this point, the paper is still damp, and it's very likely that I would rip my paper. So do not trim your paper while it's wet. Either trim it to size before you start, or wait until it's completely dry. Not just a little bit dry, but completely dry before you try and trim it down. All right, so let's go back and add some more color. And this time I'm going to go a bit crazy with my spritzer, because I'm going to use watercolor paper, which means we can use more water, because watercolor paper handles water, as the name would suggest, much better. All right, so I'm going to go the same colors again. And then my lighter color down the bottom. So who's done this before? Anyone else given it a try? It's a lot of fun. It's very easy, but it's very, you know, you never know. It's one of those techniques that you don't know what you're going to get, and I love that. All right, let's go a bit crazier with the water this time. So I want this to kind of, I'm going to send it so it all bleeds up together. Oh, okay. This time, remember, this is the embossed side with the leaf is raised. We want to work on the back because we're putting our design kind of around. So I'm going to put that with the back of it down. And you can just put your fingers over it. I can put and do that if I want to, just to make sure it makes good contact. Or the other thing I can do is I can smush it around. So let's have a look at it and see how it's looking. Ooh, okay. Can you see how this is bled a lot more, and the watercolor makes it a much smoother effect? All right, so I rather like that. I'm going to add a bit more down here because some of this is run down here, so I'm going to add a bit more. I rather like that. That's rather nice. Look at that. You haven't tried it, Janine? You've done something like this and not on an embossed piece. It does look really cool. Yeah, really, really cool, because you can see that we've got some, you know, yes, we have picked up some color in the leaves here, but also we have plenty of white showing, which is a really nice effect, don't you think? So that one I'm going to set aside, and I'm not going to use these colors again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get here with my, I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you could just grab another embossed piece and, have I got one here? I mean, maybe I should just do one. I'll do one more. I'll do the dotty one. How about that? And I'm just going to pop that. This one is not watercolor. This is just basic white. But there's a fair bit of water on that, so I'm not sure how it's going to work. Yeah, that's not actually working nearly as well. Look at that. It's a bit blobby. We can move it around. I don't mind it all together, but so I've just really got a really interesting, not particularly attractive thing going on here. These ones worked much, much better. Okay, so let's put that one aside and we'll pretend that didn't happen. I'm going to grab my paper towel and wipe that down. And to make sure we get it really, really clean, because you want it to be clean before you start adding other colors, you can grab your Stampin' Mist or another couple of cloths and just make sure you've got that really, really clean. I have got my my cleaning cloth that came with this. I've got that here, but I forgot to wet it before we started, so I'm just using paper towel. But yes, you could use your cleaning cloth as well. All right, I'm ready to go. Judy's asked, Janine, if you lost your cotton, did you lose your cotton emboss machine? That's a really interesting question. I think embossing folders that have, well, it depends on the person. But I mean, we have embossing folders, like, for example, I would call this one, this is the distressed tile. And you can see I've been playing around with it and it's a bit dirty inside because I was putting some ink inside here earlier. But this one is an all over pattern. There is no spaces between these patterns. I love this design, but this one has spaces in between, which gives it, you know, makes it quite interesting. Okay. So I think any embossing folders would be great for someone who's visually impaired because they can feel it. It's very textural. It's very, but I think maybe a one that has a pattern that is not an all over design like this one, because, you know, you can feel the different leaves. You can feel the space in between the leaves. I don't know. I think for someone who's visually impaired, I do actually have a friend I could ask. But yeah, I would probably think if they might prefer one that is a little bit more interesting. Like, you know, you can feel that this is trees. And I think that would be quite satisfying. Now, this is not watercolor paper, so I don't expect this one to work as well. This is the embossed side with the trees, and on the back we have the debossed side. So we've got, this is the side we would make contact with the ink, because this one, you could get a really interesting sky going. So what color shall we do our sky? I'm thinking maybe Misty Moonlight, and maybe some purple and pinks would be nice in there. Maybe some Petunia Pop, and maybe Highland Heather or Gorgeous Grape. Maybe Highland Heather. What do we think? What do we think about those three for an interesting sky to go with our trees? What do you think? Would these be nice? Yeah, I hope you find it too soon. Goodness me. I hope you find it, Janine. You've done this before, but not using embossing folders. Get your embossing folders involved. You like the blobby look too? Yeah, it's a bit more arty. I agree. So it's interesting, isn't it? All right, so let's try these. I was going to go Night of Navy, but I was worried that might be a bit too dark. So let's just try some Misty Moonlight. So I'm just applying the ink straight onto, actually, will I go purple next or pink next? The Petunia Pop next, maybe? So let's try that. I mean, you can't, it doesn't matter. You can push the whole ink pad down. You don't need to tap it like I just did. I'm just trying to use as much ink from the edges. I find very often you've got more ink around the edges. That's where the ink tends to pool. So that's what I was thinking. Now this will be an interesting sky, I'm thinking. So let's get our spritzer involved, and I'm going to let's try that. All right, so I'm going to go this way, I think. Let's see. Oh, no, this one may not work. I think I should have gone with watercolor paper because it's not working at all. Okay. That's a no. Okay, let's put that one to one side. That did not work out. But that's okay. While I've got these colors, I've also got a one here with, this is a new folder, this one. So this is a new one called, it's from a beautiful bokeh suite in the new mini catalog that's coming on the 7th of January. And this is this is the, is it butterfly? I can't remember what it's called. Butterfly something. Oh, hang on a second. Beautiful Butterflies is what it's called. So there we go. Let's try this. And I'm going to add a bit more water. So I liked the idea of, I'm going to have to perfect. I'm sometimes just working it out as I show you guys. I'm going to have to perfect the colors. And I think the go with those pine trees, I might have to do one on some watercolor paper because I think that might be better. All right, so I'm going to put this, and I'm just going to whack this in here and just turn it on there a bit. Let's see how this looks. All right, this one's better. All right, so a bit more water. So this is kind of interesting. Now, when it's dry, it's going to do other things. I like the fact we've got some white coming down around here. I actually really like this panel. I think it's really, really pretty. I think we could do a lot with that. Good afternoon, Maureen. Nice to see you. Yeah, let's try that, Julie. That's a great idea. So Julie suggested spritzing the paper first and then putting in the ink. Okay, let's do it. Let's try that. I'm going to clean this off first and then reapply the colour because there's a lot of water sitting on it. And then we'll make a card with one of the panels. We've just got to decide which one. So I'm going to go Misty Moonlight. And I didn't end up with much Misty Moonlight here. It's sort of all blended in with, there's very little there. I'd like to have more Misty Moonlight. And then I'm going to do, we'll do another one. I'll emboss it. And we'll spritz the paper first. Ooh, I dropped my ink pad. Oh, well. It doesn't matter, right? And let's go some purple. Hey, Cherie, we're mucking around here with some colour and having a bit of fun. All right, I am going to quickly emboss my Which one shall I do this time? Should I try the trees again, or should we try do another butterfly one and spritz it? Or the dots? Actually, the dots might be good with the watercolor paper. So this is the size of the watercolor paper, and then I'm just going to cut that in half to get the panel that I want to have. So I'm cutting it at the 3.5 inch mark. Dots. Okay. Yep, Julie, that's what we'll do. We're going to do dots because that one didn't work out before with the other paper. So I like the dots, and I don't necessarily want them, I don't want it centered necessarily. I kind of like it off to one side. So, you know, like this. So it's not exactly in the middle. I like that. And then I'm going to run that through my cut and emboss machine with the specialty plate. Just a word too, if you are wanting to do this kind of technique, you probably, and you don't like getting messy fingers, wear gloves. I don't care. I always have messy fingers. So what I'm going to do this time, okay, remember we're going to be working on this side. So that's the side I'm going to spray. I'm going to actually spray my paper rather than the ink. So let's give that a whirl. So I just want to wet it so that I think that's probably close to enough. And let's move that down. And then I'm going to put my paper over the top. Whoop, doesn't matter. Give it a bit of a push, but not too hard. I'm not going to actually push everything out. I don't want all the dots to get filled in. I just want it to have contact with the background. And let's pick it up. Ooh, look at that. That's interesting. What do we think? Do we like this? So some of the dots are filled in, but some of them are not. I rather like that. And then up the top, I'd like it to be a little bit more blue so I can put it back in and smush it around again. What do we think? Do you like that? I think that looks really nice. I really like that one. All right, so I'm going to clean this up again. What's the confusion of your comment? If I spray both the ink and the normal paper, and well, the normal paper won't handle a lot of water, okay? But I that's with the watercolor paper, we definitely can have a bit of fun with that. I'm actually, this piece that I've got left over, I'm actually going to not emboss it. I just want to show you how the paper turns out if it's not embossed. I'm going to add a bit more color in. Just adding some color. It is a little bit like batik. It is, isn't it? All right, are we going to spray paper this time or spray here? Or both? We can do both because it's watercolor paper. I'm getting low on my water in here. It's amazing how quickly you go through it. I might have a spare one. I didn't think I'd go all the way through it here, but it looks like I'm going to. I might have another one that's got some in it though. And I just want to smush it around and show you what happens when we have no embossing. Add water and scribble the color a bit with my fingers. Oh, I could. I'll tell you what, then I definitely want to wear gloves, right? Let me see if there's any left in here. I don't think there is. Oh, a little bit. All right, I'm not going to add it to the watercolor paper. I'm just going to smush it down here and then just move it around a little bit. Let's just see how that looks. Okay, so this is what I got just smushing my paper around. Different effect altogether. And if I had wet the paper before I started, I didn't have enough water to do that. But if I had wet the paper, oh, hang on, I've got some more in this one, not very much. Then I would get a different effect again. Okay, so no, not enough in that one either. I thought I filled up that thing before I started, and I thought I'd have plenty. But I'll tell you what I can do. I can take some out of a water painter and put it into my here we go. Done. Look at that. Took it out of my water painter and put it in here instead. All right, so let's try. So basically this is the sort of technique that you just want to muck around and play. This is a playing technique. It reminds me a little bit of, you know, like finger painting or something like that when we were kids. Okay, and that's how it looks when I smush it again. So there we go. So you can do all sorts of different things with this and just keep going and just play around, okay? I think we should make a card or two with our pieces that we've already made. So let's have a look. If you need to dry something off quickly, you can hit it with a heat tool. That would work. I mean, this is even nice, this panel. I quite like it. But you can see the difference when you're using an embossed design. So we've got a few that we can play with that I'm actually happy with. I don't mind this one. I don't mind that one. I like those ones. What do we think? And I don't mind this one either. I think that's quite pretty, the butterfly. You like this panel too? Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? It's very pretty. I'm going to put it to one side because it's still very wet, whereas the others are drying off. This one is still a little bit wet, but that's okay. It would still be useful on a card as it is. I don't need to cut it down. The butterfly says K. The top left and middle is that one, Julie? Let me see the last. Yeah, different people saying different ones they like. It could pick up the previous card's pattern. But you can just see that you can have a lot of fun with this, all right? Super, super nice. So I don't know which one to go with. I'm going to discard the butterfly for now, and then it's going to be one of these. I like the watercolored panel, even though we did smush a little bit over these leaves, I still really like it. I think it turned out nice. And I could always put it this way and have my smushy bit, like put my greeting here where the smushing is, so that it covers up that bit if I'm worried about it. But, you know, they're all really lovely. Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad you think it's fun, Cherie. All right, top left says Marty. Top left, the one on the left says Janine. All right, this is the one I think everyone is favoring, so let's go with it. All right, so this one is measured. I cut this to size before I started. And I'm going to grab some pretty peacocky cardstock. I'm actually going to get a brand new piece of pretty peacock because my scraps are all too small. Grab a piece of that. Pretty peacock is such a versatile color in my mind. I just think it's beautiful. It's always a favorite. So let's cut this piece to 14.3. This is my card front size. Okay, so this would be what your US sizing. This would be 4 by 5 1/4 is what the US size would be. So I'm making mine, though, 10 centimeters across. And then this piece here is going to go right here. So it's interesting. We didn't end up choosing the watercolor piece, even though the watercolor pieces, they feel more robust to me, and I think I prefer to work with them, but I quite like this, just this basic white one as well. So I'm going to pop that right there. And because there's so much detail provided by the embossing folder, you don't need to do a lot to this card. You know, you could just keep it really, really simple and have just a simple piece on it. So let me see. I'm just going to go with a simple circle, I think. Let me grab a piece of white. This is a 1 3/4 inch punch, circle punch. And then I'm going to go up to a 2-inch punch. And just for something different, I'm going to use some glitter paper in Pretty Peacock, just to have a different texture. All right, so this is going to go onto here. And I'm thinking one of my favorite, I think if it fits, there's a Thinking of You. There's a really nice Thinking of You. Will it fit though? That is the question. Or do I need to? Oh, it does fit, but only just. Do you think it's too, do you think it doesn't fit? Do you think that, or should I go with Happy Birthday? Because that would go. Happy Birthday from the same set. Okay, so Happy Birthday is probably a little bit better fit than the Thinking of You. Yeah, you can see all three colors, Marilyn. You're right. That is a really good point about this panel. I think that's probably why people liked it. And I'm going to use Pretty Peacock ink for my. Whoop. Oh, it's wanting to stick to the glass mat. When that happens to your stamps, your photopolymer stamps, they don't stick very well onto the block. You want to give them a bit of a wash with some warm water and a bit of soap, okay? And then just let it dry after you've given it. And that will get any dust or anything like that that's sitting on the back of it that makes it not sticky, all right? So, there we go. So we do have, I've got to tell you this because I think it's rather cool. In a couple of weeks, Celebration will start. And one of the cool things, they always have a really great joining deal. So if anyone's thinking about that, reach out, let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about that and send any information out if you're after this. But there's a really good deal. So if anyone's thinking about joining, you might want to get onto that sooner rather than later because there's some cool things to be had. I've just edged this piece by rolling it around in the old olive ink. And I'm going to pop a couple of dimensionals behind here. I'm just going to... Now, because we're using glimmer paper, there's only a couple of adhesives that work with glimmer paper. One is dimensionals, the other is glue dots. Tombow really doesn't work very well with the glittery surface. I'll put that right about there. What do you think? Do we like that? Do we need, should we, I think I can just glue that straight down. And then we're going to need some bling of some kind. It's a pretty simple card after all of that, isn't it? What did I do with that? I folded a basic white piece just before. Oh, here it is. Here it is, already folded. Right. And I feel like maybe I would want to have something else. Maybe a ribbon. Ooh, not sure. I think it is, but it does need something. It needs bling and then something else. All right. What do you do with the older stamps that didn't have the sticking to your blocks? The clear ones, as in when I say clear, they used to call the rubber stamps that went onto the blocks clear stamps, and then they changed it to cling stamps when they changed the stickiness. I used to, sounds terrible. If I wanted to use one of those, I used to literally use my snail or seal or whatever you've got and use it to stick them onto the blocks that way with seal, and then take them off again. Because there's nothing worse than having a stamp falling off the block. That's awful. You like the card? A torn piece of torn lace. Oh, you're off to your chiropractor. Good luck. Hope it goes well. See you on Friday. They used the cling stamps, Cherie, used to be called clear when they first came out, before we had photopolymer stamps. Very confusing, but that's what they were. I'm just going to go and look and see if I have. Well, this would be interesting. This is Lost Lagoon cord that we have in the online store at the moment. I don't know how this will tie on here, though. I find that this cord, to me, is better knotted than tied in a bow, because it doesn't tie a very neat bow. But that's a possibility. So, you know, that would look okay. But I'm looking to see what else I have. I also have, oh, is this still current? Does anyone know if the metallic Pretty Peacock ribbon is still current? That's a possibility. Or I could use iridescent white stripe. That would be nice, and I could even color it with Pretty Peacock if I wanted to. Or we could just use some gold cord. Actually, gold twisted thread might be nice. I think this might be nice. And then if I'm going to use this, then I would go with, I know which embellishment to use with this as well. Right, so I'm going to, this is the twisted cord, which is actually really nice, this one. So I think that might be the go. I know I asked you guys all these different questions, which one, and then I went and picked which one I wanted anyway. Sorry about that. It's not very collaborative, is it? Let me tie that better. All right. Yeah, I think the gold cord is nice. It's not too much. It's just enough. Right, and I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors and just trim that. And then in my embellishment book, I have got, pretty sure they're in here, we've got these with the little gold, can you see them, with the little gold, Pretty Peacock with the gold foil in them. I think those might go really well with this. So let me try that. Maybe a little guy up here somewhere. Whoop. There we go, like that. What do we think? Do we like it? It turned out pretty good, didn't it? I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, those are the right ones, aren't they? I just remembered them. I think this is still current. They're pretty pink, petal pink, and Pretty Peacock foiled gems. 162587. I think. Let me just quickly go over here. 152. Did I say? No, 162. 587. Yes. 587. Let me see if they come up. Yes, those are still current. Those are still in the online store for $14. And yeah, you've got petal pink in there as well. So these are quite good. The other ones that would have looked good, and they look good with everything, if you're looking for a really good all-rounder, the foiled gems. Those, they're called iridescent foiled gems. Those are fantastic. Love them. Use them all the time. But we've used these ones today just to go with the pretty peacock theme. So there we go. Does anyone have any questions about that at all? Oh, thank you, girls. I very much appreciate all those lovely thumbs ups. It's fabulous. Yes, it's in the annual catalogue. I think that's right, Judy. But I know they're still current because I just saw them in the online store. But they're very, very nice, aren't they? And there you go. We have a card that actually came together really nicely and very easily. So we embossed, and then we put our colour down on the mat, and then we sprayed the colour, dipped our the reverse side, our deboss side of the embossing folder in so that we get that lovely background, and then smushed it around a little bit and waited for it to dry, and that's how it turned out. I actually really like it. Very happy with that. What stamp is the sentiment from? It's from the Friends for Life. This one, Friends for Life. So it's this happy birthday that I've used, but I also love this thinking of you, but that only just fit. If I had used the 2-inch punch in the white, this would have been the perfect size. But you've got best wishes, you've got best friend. So excited for you. Thank you for being a friend. Love you, friend, miss you, friend, that kind of thing. So super useful set. I use this one a lot. And I'm surprised because I didn't have it. I didn't get it when it first came out. I wasn't taken with it immediately, but I'm so glad I've got it now because it has been so useful. And the word friend, there's a matching die for this. In fact, I think I've got it here. Let me just see. Yeah, this is the matching die set. Super nice. All right, so you can see mine's all over the place. You've got that heart with all the pieces. You've got your little leaf that it cuts out from the stamp set. That's this leaf here. And then you've got a couple of big, like, standalone leaves. This is the word friend that you can use with the stamps in the set, and it's got an outline and a detail. So, you know, this one outlines this one. They go one on top of the other. So super, super nice. And I use it a lot. So much more than I thought I would. Really, really great set. If you're looking for a good bundle, that's a good bundle. Now, which one were you looking for in the annual? Of course, you can get it online. That is correct. So there we go. Whoop. That one has tried to escape. Goodness me. Let me get that back in there. Yeah, these are great. Okay, so let me come back and bumping everything around the place. Let me just come back so you can see me again. Excuse me. Of course, the disadvantage is that I can't see you, but you can see me. But oh well. Oh, you're looking for adhesive sheets. There you go. Ah, the cling sheets. Yeah, do they still have those? I don't know. Well, there we go. You guys are busy looking for all kinds of stuff. I hope you all have a great week. I'm trying to get Craft Along in the mail. If I don't think I'm going to make it today. I had hoped to get it in today, but it's probably going to be tomorrow now. But that will be in plenty of time because Craft Along, at the moment, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Monday the 30th of December. It's after Christmas, before New Year's. So at the moment, it looks like Monday the 30th. That will be confirmed over the next couple of days. And I must see what I can do about getting Facebook to work with StreamYard. I don't know what's going on there, but I'll see if I can get that fixed so that you don't have to just watch me on YouTube. If you prefer to watch on Facebook, you can. I hope StreamYard hasn't changed what they're doing, but who knows. All right, you guys. They do Oh, you're answering Lani's question. There you go. Oh, good job, Judy. That's fantastic. Nearly finished, huh? You're very welcome, Barbara. Thank you so much for watching. All right, you ladies. Well, if anyone has any questions about anything at all, please reach out. I'm very happy to help out with any questions you might have. We will be live on Friday evening for sketch night on Friday night, so that'll be fun. But next Tuesday, for Technique Tuesday, it's Christmas Eve. I am not sure if I will actually be live or not. So yeah, that's that. I will have that announced on the weekend, but I'm not sure that I will be live on Christmas Eve. All right, okay, guys, have a fantastic day. Whatever it is you're doing, don't get hot if you're in one of those hot states. And I will see you all again on Friday night. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.